Yeah, because nowadays you hear a lot about blockchain technology or Bitcoin, but with talking about technology, it's hard to grasp the whole idea. So the concept and the building blocks of a blockchain.
Yep.
And to compare that with the internet, I think nobody wonders how the internet works.
Yeah.
So in this presentation, we will explain what you can do with blockchain technology and how it fits with lean thinking. And we will use the lean principles. So you will discover, hopefully, that the blockchain actually provides in a workflow management system, and that adds performance and also security to collaboration systems of business to business transactions. So it's more like a tool set for a smarter collaboration between entities that normally don't trust each other. So in my approach or my vision, it's more lean for system thinkers.
Yeah. So the system being a collection of processes that can be governed by independent entities, independent businesses. You calling them silos in this presentation, that generally are not communicating well with each other. They can be completely different business entities, but they're all necessary in order to deliver the value to the customer. And this is the problem that we are seeing, that there's this lack of communication and collaboration in our systems. People are working in their silos, in their own businesses for their own goals, but not for the end goal of the whole system.
Yes, and blockchain is a solution to improve the collaboration between entities. So every entity is siloed.
Yes.
And that's also a lean approach. So you want to make all the activities contribute to the business goals.
Yeah.
But what a blockchain will do is we will look to the end-to-end processes. So that's not only the business, the company A, but also the collaboration with company B.
Yes.
And it's interesting for lean because of the way of thinking, the system approach. Yeah. And it's also interesting for every developer to validate their business proposal, so their solution with blockchain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as you said, we're not going to get into the details of how the blockchain technology works. As you said, we don't need to understand how the internet works in order to use the internet effectively.
Gijs, do you want to add something?
Maybe you can just say that a blockchain is an accelerator for lean system thinking.
Yes, great.
When you think about a blockchain, it's about a system, and you have to look at the whole system.
An accelerator, an enabler of systems, because, and I like to think of it as a communications layer. That is trustworthy and very, very secure and cannot be corrupted. So many these different silos, these different entities we were talking about that might have actually, independent goals. They might not have the system goal or the system goal as their primary goal, which so this layer provides that system goal. The value for the system is stored in that layer.
Yeah, let's go on that further.
Next slide. And the next slide, you got this from the idea of the hospital, the doctor hospital, the medical services. This came from KPMG. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, this can be any business, but for this example, I used a doctor and a hospital, and they have to work together to get flow in their product, the process, payment, and administration. And that's every business, every entity has its own processes. So every entity has a product, a process, and a payment flow. Mm-hmm. And what you like to see is settlement in one piece flow. And with blockchain technology, I think this can be a reality. But what you see on this picture is that our current organizational design creates waste in interaction with other business units or entities. So in this example, the doctor with the hospital. The chosen organizational model will automatically lead to waste. So you could say it's waste by design, because the transactions has to go to the other entity.
Yes.
And that's a bottleneck in value flow.
Yes.
So it looks like a push system rather than a pull system.
Yes.
And we like to see a pull system, of course. And too little attention is paid to the waste that's caused by the siloed structure. And the focus is often on improving the internal organization. And for example, email, I think that's the biggest form of waste. And it leads to processing, overproduction, waiting, inventory. Email is a form of inventory. And what do you want to improve? Do you want to improve the throughput of email, or do you want to eliminate email? And I think the low-hanging fruit is that you will eliminate email by sharing information crossover.
Yes, a lot of lean principles you were talking about there. The idea that a good lean process flows well. Well, with these different silos, with this big jump in taking information from one database and sending it to a database in another company. So you've got now duplicate information. We've got over processing. We've got batch processing to some extent, potentially as well. And the bottleneck is the waiting for this transfer to occur. And in this picture, we've only got two entities, two silos.
Yeah.
But in a medical system, you might have tens or even hundreds of silos.
Yes, and you have to think of the goal of the customer, because the goal for the customer is not to go to the doctor.
Correct.
They want they want to solve their problem. So that's what you should follow. And I think the blockchain is a conversation starter. So it's really a starter of a conversation, how you can improve the whole system.
So removing the wastes, and we'll talk about some of the wastes a bit in a later slide as well. But
maybe Gijs, do you want to say something about this slide?
I think it was quite important what you said. The last thing you said, you have to look at the whole system from the point of view from, in this case, the patient or the people, the person who's sick. But it's important for all silos in the system to have the same goal.
The same visibility into the whole system. So the visibility and transparency are two words we discussed earlier.
Later.
Okay.
Okay, then we go to the causes. Yes, same picture, doctor and hospital. But this picture shows the biggest constraint in value flow.
Yep.
And it's caused by the siloed organizational design. And this makes processes less predictable. So every entity uses its own ERP systems, and there are complex customer situations, so you don't know really what to do. And there is no uniformity in data, and there are unclear legislations, and there is politics and insufficient cooperation between departments, managers, and people are not incentivized to share data of the work more closer together. So it's really it's creating waste, and it makes the process unpredictable of the outcome of the process. So, and with blockchain, we have the Lego building blocks. We can come up with a more poker-yoker system design, and that will improve the quality and also the reliability, also the flexibility, reduce the cost, and it will bring a higher throughput through the whole system, because it's a shared reality, and you can come up with your needs. So a business can contribute to your flow. So you don't have to retype the email anymore if somebody is willing to share the information in a shared system.
Yeah.
And as you know, a bad system will beat a good person every time. So I think this is a bad system design, and we can come up with a better system design.
Very good. And you mentioned ERP systems, enterprise resource planning systems, but any data storage, it could be Excel being used in one silo, and then Excel being used in another silo, and people are emailing Excel files and cutting and pasting data. You know, it's the same. It doesn't have to be a complex ERP system. It can just be anywhere we're storing data, and the sharing of data is not easy. And we see that so often. So we have, you know, different copies of the same data, which sometimes don't even match because there's been mistakes made. And you mentioned poka-yoke, mistake proofing. If we only have one copy of the data in the blockchain layer, or the master copy is there, is that correct?
It's more a status. So it's not you don't share all the data, but you share the changing the status.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and that's really a lean approach, because you don't have to synchronize all the data sets. You synchronize the status.
Yeah. The mistake proofing there is critical for quality, saving time so no rework, and therefore reducing costs, because a lot of the work people are doing in organizations now is not value added. It's non-value added work. It's work that is necessary potentially, but it's not adding any true value.
But it's also hard to do it, John. It isn't a really fun way of working, but we will look at that in the next slide, I think.
Okay, good. Very good list of the causes there.
Thank you. But it's also from the report from KPMG, so I didn't come up with it myself.
Oh, okay.
It's really from it's proven.
That list was from KPMG's report. Okay.
Yeah, it's proven by investigation.
Yeah, very good. And the consequences.
And it's also very serious, because it's about people. People are products. And the consequences, the 8 wastes. Every lean consultant should know the 8 wastes.
Yep.
And the consequences from this organizational design is a lot of waste. I can't make it more.
Yeah.
Guys, do you have to say something?
Some people might know it as the 7 wastes, by the way. But the 8th waste of employee skills and talent and ideas, of course, was added. But that's a standard sort of white belt or yellow belt concept. And what you're showing there are the examples of those wastes in our siloed organizations or siloed systems with multiple organizations that all have to be passing data, transferring data. You end up with all of these sorts of wastes.
Yes, and the tools to make more flow, to create more flow, are transparency, visualization, standardization, automation. Yep. So it's all in a blockchain approach.
Yep. Information requirement. What information do we need, Michael?
Yeah, that's the
question. The key question. Yeah.
to do your work first time right and just in time. But this picture illustrates the coordination, cooperation and communication problem. I think that's what the bullwhip effect is all about.
The bullwhip, yeah.
And I think blockchain can improve that. But nowadays, there are a lot of nowadays in daily work there are a lot of questions to be answered,
Yep.
and it's not always clear what the answer is. So that makes it hard to transfer information.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at the questions, and also these questions came from the report from KPMG.
Okay. Okay.
So it's an example of how value flows in hospital design.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very serious, I think. But it's obvious, I think, that it's hard to do your job the first time right, just in time. And wouldn't it be nice if we had a system or a second layer that prevent us from making mistakes? So if legislation is not really clear, it's hard to get flow in value, and it will hurt the product or the patient in this example. So for me, personally, I think blockchain can bring a more poka-yoke system design.
I think these questions they are there when the different silos in a system don't share the same goal. The more they have the same goal, the less these questions come up. Understand? So.
Yes, and it's also also true that some people make the rules, but don't work in the system. So for legislation, it's very easy to add something to the system, some legislation of rules, but it's hard to implement it in legacy systems. So it's I think it feels very uncomfortable to work in a hospital if you don't know what to share.
Correct. And as you mentioned, this is causing the flow to get disrupted. The value does not flow well because of these misunderstandings, because of the lack of clarity. And what blockchain can provide is the one source of the status of, as you said, the status or the true answer should be available for everybody to see. They know where to go and find the true answer.
Yeah, if you're allowed to see it, of course.
Right.
It's always compliant with legislation.
But it's so blockchain's configurable, so you can decide who can see what. Yeah. So that's not a problem. It doesn't have to be completely open. But you set the rules so it's efficient, so that the right people can see the right data and status. I mean, you said it's only status, but it's a bit more than status. You can actually see names and numbers and.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah. But I don't want to talk too much about the technology. But you're right, John.
Yeah. Okay.
But you don't share the whole database, and that's I think an important part to understand. So you can share ownership and transactions, and yes.
I know where you're going with that, actually. So because of, for example, GDPR rules, you might not want you cannot let people see all the data about a patient or a customer, but you can show them whether that person has passed from point A to point B in the system. So everybody's clear where they are. And they have an identifier. They have an identifier, and you can check what their status is, for example.
Yeah, there are different blockchain approaches. So you have open blockchain, and you can't
Sure.
share
Yeah.
the names of the participants. But
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about
No.
the technology. I want to talk about what it can do for you.
Okay. Are we ready for the next slide?
Yes,
All
seen
right.
it before. Yeah, this picture explains blockchain way of thinking.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is that the business partners set goals, a vision, and a mission for the whole system. So that's at the shared goals and mission and vision.
Yeah.
And you can call them the system success factors.
Right. The
So
shared
that-
goals, mission, and vision, the system success factors, which ties into Hoshin Kanri
Yes.
strategic planning type mindset. Yes.
Yes. And then you think of improving the quality or the reliability or flexibility or lead time of the whole system, or you want to reduce the cost for the whole system. And once you have established and reached consensus about these goals, then you will look to the business processes and set KPIs for your primary processes. So those processes will contribute to the overall goals. And by setting those KPIs,
KPI, just in
KPIs,
English. Yeah.
and you broadcast them, you share them with your network. It's easy to improve those KPIs, and
Yes.
also the other stakeholders can help you with that.
Okay.
So it's more about improving the system and getting alignment in the system with the overall goal, what the blockchain can bring. And that's, I think, a new way of thinking, and you reduce the waste created by design.
Yeah.
So you can eliminate that.
Yeah.
And it's a Hoshin Kanri approach, but then for system thinking, for entities, businesses.
Yeah. And of course, you've taken this value stream mapping approach. You showed us the current state in a previous slide, and now this is titled the future state, what we would like to get to with this workflow management automation, which is going to be provided by blockchain technology.
Yes, it's a value mapping approach, because you want to approve something. You have to, if you want to focus on the quality, then you can come up with more transparency. With transparency, you can prove the quality that you promised the customer. So you put elements of the quality on the blockchain and be transparent about that. So if I prove that my product came from France, then I have to share information about the location and be transparent about that it's from France. And how I do that, that's part of the system design. So that's you share also how you prove your promise.
Yeah.
And if you want to reduce cost, and that's the main goal, so that's then the voice of the network, you can create more alignment with the overall goal, and that will reduce the cost. And you can also choose to eliminate paper-based processes, so reduce emailing and inventory, overprocessing, overproduction, and thereby reduce the bottlenecks in value flow. Because it's all due to the siloed organizational design.
Yeah.
And also the output can be improved because everybody is able to give feedback. They can give feedback on the KPIs and how to improve that. So the throughput, I think the throughput will improve because by eliminating the bottlenecks, but also by measuring and analyzing the whole system. So for the first time, the customer is really in the central, and the process can be analyzed.
Maybe I think it's quite important to that the different silos in the system look at the value-added activities. So they can see from each other which silo adds what value, and maybe that's quite different than it is nowadays in
Yes.
current state.
Yes.
When they start that way of thinking, maybe some other choices are being made, or they help each other in some cases where they don't do it now. So I think that's quite a different way of thinking, to share with each other where value is added, and to decide what that means for the whole system.
Yes, that's really the change management part of blockchain, Gijs, because it's also hard to do it different, because you always did it that way.
Yeah.
It's your work, you created it, and you can you should let the work be done to somebody else, or you have to share information you didn't share before.
Yeah.
So, but this it leads also to more automation and standardization.
An automated system, yeah.
Yeah, because we are all familiar with the SOP, Standard Operating
the
Procedure.
SOPs, or SOPs, yeah.
Yes, and I think the SOP, you can compare them with a smart contract. And the smart contract is the business rules. You have consensus about the business rules, and you follow those business rules with the KPIs beneath the business rules. And so it's very standardized and also automated. So really a lean approach, I think.
So the business rules, such as when a transfer is made from one silo to another, and the logic behind the flow, for example, when can you move, when can you not move, when do you have to do a check, when what you're saying is that can be built in, that business rule can be built into the blockchain coding using something called a smart contract, and these are very efficient for control.
Yeah, and it brings alignment in the system.
Control, alignment, yeah.
Yes.
And standardization. Yeah, very good.
And
predictable processes.
Say that again.
You get predictable processes.
Predictable, yes.
In the current state, or in the causes lead to unpredictable.
Right, reducing variation, which is, of course, is the biggest goal of Six Sigma, if we want to bring up that, you know. But yeah.
Yes, and I've mentioned the bullwhip effect, and
yes.
I think we all know what happened with the toilet paper this year.
Yes, yeah, the run on toilet paper after COVID-19. Yes.
So, and yeah, what caused the run on toilet paper, John? What was the cause?
Well, as we've discussed, it was because there was no visibility into the whole system, and we had so many intermediary and siloed parts to the supply chain for toilet paper, going all the way back to probably to the forests where the trees were cut down to go to the paper mill, to be made into paper, to go to the warehouses, to go to the suppliers, distributors, to then go to distribution centers, to then go to supermarkets. There was the different entities didn't have, even that were part of the system, couldn't see what the inventories were in each stage, and especially not the end customer.
Mm-hmm.
The end customer, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or Mr. and Mrs. Veyer, would have no idea that there was plenty of inventory further up the supply chain.
Yes, in crypto that is called FOMO.
FOMO, that's correct. Yeah. And what does that stand for, Michael? Failure of missing out. Well,
fear of missing out.
Fear of missing out.
Yes.
And that could be disastrous if it's missing out on toilet paper. Yes. But that fear drove the massive demand at the customer end, and once you then got that resonated then back through the supply chain, so it caused even greater problems. It caused great problems at the customer end. It's the bullwhip effect.
Yes.
That
And, if we add transparency, and also now if we add transparency, I think this problem is solved. But the bullwhip effect stands for cooperation, coordination, and communication problem. And I think that's all in a blockchain approach, because it's a coordination system, and it's also a cooperation system because you have to work together.
Yeah.
And it's also a communication system. So you know the status.
Yeah.
You share the status.
So I'll just repeat that again. So it's the bullwhip effect's caused because of lack of coordination, cooperation, and communication.
Yes.
And this workflow management automation provided by blockchain can actually provide that coordination, communication, and cooperation, or collaboration is another word for it.
These are elements of a blockchain approach.
Yeah.
Okay, next slide, I think. The main benefits, we've mentioned them before. It's about standardization, because you, John, you can call something a pear, and Gijs can call it an apple.
Yes.
And in the blockchain layer, we share the same reality.
Shared reality. Yeah.
Shared
Great.
reality.
Yeah.
So there's no mistake possible.
We agree that the blockchain layer is the truth, is the reality.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what our internal siloed reality is, or perception in our silo perception, because we now have a place to go for the true reality.
Yeah, it's the consensus. It's consensus.
The consensus. We've got a consensus that is what we agree is the reality of the status, or you pull in. We talked about. You can even pull in real information from the outside world, from external systems, to display that in the blockchain layer. Yeah. With what you were saying, the Oracle. Yeah.
Yeah, the Oracle. The biggest problem for blockchain technology is the Oracle problem. So you have to agree on the input, because input in of garbage in is also garbage out.
Yeah.
So we have to agree on the input. So it's part of the system design. But brightness and clarity, I think that's clear. Transparency and visualization will contribute to the brightness and clarity of the value flow.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we discussed the difference between transparency and visualization, but transparency is that you can prove what you promised the customer, and visualization is more the track and trace through the whole system. Yes, you agree on that? Yes.
So visualization is the ability to track and trace things, and transparency is the trust element, that it's we're open, or we trust that this is the true state.
Yes, I promise you that it's not a blood diamond. And then
not a blood diamond.
Diamond. Yes, there is an example of blockchain technology that you prove that it's authentic, or in this case, it's not a blood diamond, and then it's get a digital twin, and it's proven to the customer that's.
Well, there'll be some great case studies coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic, because in the big system, there's so many different players, all with their own interpretation of what's going on and acting in different ways. So it's going to be a fantastic example where we have not had the coordination, cooperation, communication, and it's caused all of these delays and inefficiencies and errors, mistakes being made, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and it can contribute to the SDGs, because if we eliminate all the waste in all the systems, I think that will be the biggest contributor to the SDGs.
What was the acronym there? Sorry,
The sustainable goals, the SDGs,
STGs.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not familiar with that. Sorry, sustainable something goals. Right, I got it.
Okay.
It's like a green concept, yeah.
Yes, yes.
It's a green concept. Sorry, yeah. It's an English acronym that I should be familiar with. I'm not. So it's a green, sustainable. Yeah, it's all right. Right. Control by design, brightness and clarity.
Yes, you also have the, of course, synchronization of the information, automation we have discussed with SOP, and the control by design. So it has to be compliant with legislation. So if the system says yes, then you agree with legislation.
Yeah. Now it's such a wonderful opportunity for us to improve in the world, improve our systems, improve our cooperation. There are companies, big accounting companies and consulting companies that are approaching governments, right, with this type of systems thinking, but they're making slow progress, it seems. And they're thinking about blockchain. I know there's like initiatives going on, but I think we need to speed up a bit.
Yes, and I think if we talk about the blockchain concept, you don't really need a blockchain every time.
Right.
So, but thinking about the concept and the shared mission and vision of the whole process will improve.
That's a great point. A great point. That you actually you can have something that acts a bit like a blockchain, but it isn't actually blockchain technology. No, you're right. And that's why you preferred to use the word a workflow system, because the workflow system doesn't have to be blockchain enabled, but blockchain is one of the capabilities. And because it's such a hot topic right now, it gets people going.
It's the first time that you can come up with a system for entities that do not trust each other. So that's why it's a conversation starter and a really important conversation starter. But it's the first time in history we can come up with a system to do that.
The first time in history, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Only
okay,
since
next slide, I
2013.
Think.
Right, next slide. That is the last slide. No, it's not. Sorry.
No.
It just didn't click. Sorry. There you go.
Yes. Who will benefit? Yeah, we all know the voice of the customer, I think, and the voice of the business.
Yes.
And with blockchain technology, you get the voice of the network.
Voice of the network. Great.
Fun. And in a Lean project, you define normally the voice of the customer or business. But in a blockchain project, you have to take care of all stakeholders who add value to the system, and you solve more than one problem at once.
Right.
And you can. This is an example of medical care, and you can see that if you improve the system, the customers will get more quality or more speed, easy to use, and the society get good and affordable care. That's what we want, just in time. And the stakeholders, so the people who are working in the medical care, get more predictable processes, less administration to do, and less control. It's also very important, I think. And the employees, they get more work, or more fun in their work, because they don't have to do all the administration and all the control elements. And meaningful work. I think everybody who's working in the medical industry is really incentivized by the meaningful work, and now they can do this.
Yeah, workers know it when they're just not adding value, but it's just busy work or it's rework of something that they've already done, and it's not meaningful. So, but this phrase "voice of the network" is going to be big, I believe, in the next months and years. We've been talking about voice of the customer, VOC, voice of the business, VOB, sometimes voice of the process, voice of the employee, but we haven't been, as you say, in systems thinking. We have to think of all of the connected entities that in the full value stream, in the enterprise. Sometimes it's thought of the whole enterprise, but I do like the idea of voice of the network.
Yeah, me too. Okay, this is
yep. Next slide. Right. Why do we need more lean systems thinkers?
Okay, yeah, this is the last slide, I think. Yes, because there is a new tool set for creating lean business processes, and the approach is to work smarter together and come up with smarter solutions. And there is a phrase, and that's called "what the internet did for information flow, blockchain will do for value flow." So this is the time for all lean thinkers to come up with better system designs. So it's not about lean Kaizen, it's more about lean Kakushin. So it's more about,
yeah,
Kakushin.
Is that on the next slide, or we haven't got that word down on here at the moment, have we? No, that's all right. If you just want to repeat that, because everybody's familiar with Kaizen, most people in continuous improvement and lean, Lean Six Sigma, and Kaizen being incremental change to an existing process. We now need either Kaikashu, which is radical fundamental change, or Kakushin, which is the innovative change. But I have to repeat what you just said there, because it's such a wonderful phrase. What the internet did for information flow, blockchain will do for value flow. I mean, anybody that's knows anything about lean, that's just sort of sweet sentence right there.
It's not my quote, it's the quote from the CEO of IBM.
Yeah, right. It's I have heard it in the past, but it's never really resonated as much as it did today. So you must have said it extremely well.
Okay, thank you. So yes, I think the internet has led to Kaikaku event. Kaikaku is a digital transformation, and I think blockchain is more like Kakushin. Because everything of value can be digitized, and if you see,
it's innovative. It's
innovative because every interaction between entities can be a robot, it can be you or me, can be digitized and transferred peer-to-peer. That's the whole idea of blockchain technology. One piece flow.
One piece flow. Very good. Poker yoke aid. One piece flowed. Standardized with SOPs. Fantastic.
Okay. Kanban.
Kanban. Yeah, the Kanban. That was an important point that's been made about. It's a visual tracking device, which is what Kanban is. It's a visual way to know when data should be moving and when it shouldn't move, or raw materials or anything, a ship or anything. Yeah, a patient in a hospital. Yeah.
And end on, because every stakeholder can say, okay, this is not good for me anymore.
Yeah.
We need a different approach.
Yeah, yeah. So fantastic how it all ties together with traditional lean thinking and lean concepts, lean tools are now being applied in this digital world, this digital network to create flow. So I think we're about at the end right now. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we're just at the beginning. Actually, we're at the beginning of a new age, and hopefully a better age in terms of efficiency, cooperation, collaboration, communication. So I'd really like to thank you, Machiel, Tessa for that fantastic presentation, and Heis there for your contribution as well. They can be contacted on LinkedIn, and
I think we have one more slide.
yeah, one more slide. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
There's your LinkedIn. There's your LinkedIn link. Fantastic.
Yes, please join the Lean Blockchain Coalition, and we will do this together. We share use cases, we share questions. Please feel free to ask questions in the comments.
Yeah, yeah, and Heis, your company is a lean company. Could you just
It's a lean company, but I have to reinvent some things because I'm also doing the thinking on blockchain.
Right.
I think there's some exchange to come.
But you can meet us all. You can meet us all through this coalition of the willing, right? Anybody that is interested in this, let's all come aboard and make this happen. Get the word out, get the energy going, and get this out to as many people as possible so that we can start improving, because we need to improve desperately.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Well, thanks again. It was very good. Thank you very much. We'll see you all again very soon.
Thank you.
Good, John.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I